Using cameras to detect animals is now one of the go-to techniques in the wildlife survey toolbox. The cameras and the techniques go by various names, but the terms camera trapping and trailcams have become common terminology. Hi, I'm Bertram Lobert. I'm Project Manager with the Strathbogie Ranges Conservation Management Network. And for the past 6 years, we've been surveying wildlife in the Strathbogie forest here in northeast Victoria. In that time, we've learnt a lot about the forest, its wildlife, and how to use trail cams. By sharing what we've learned, we hope to improve community appreciation of the forest, its cargo of precious wildlife, as well as help improve the results you get from your camera trapping. One of the prime reasons for using camera trapping in citizen science is the ability to show people what's happening in the bush when no one's around. Seeing images and video of the animals we're concerned about is an important way to develop understanding and empathy, and hopefully improve outcomes for those species and the forest as a whole. The Strathbogie forest sits in a busy part of northeast Victoria, surrounded by towns, townships and rural communities. But prior to our citizen science program, there had been only sporadic wildlife surveys in the forest in the last 40 years, since the very first surveys were conducted by the then Land Conservation Council. And in those 40 years, the region, land use, the forest itself has changed. So there was a lot to be rediscovered. Camera trapping was one of the techniques used to survey the forest, along with bird surveys, nocturnal spotlighting and habitat assessments. Trail cams were set at numerous sites in the forest to survey ground-dwelling mammals. Community volunteers helped to deploy the cameras and to assess the still and video recordings. Using a trail cam on your own property doesn't require any special permits, as long as you're not interfering with the normal behaviour of the animal. If you're surveying on someone else's property or on public land, you need the permission of the land manager. It's always best to ask first. And of course, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're complying with wildlife regulations and the law, regardless of which state you're in. Exactly how you set up your trail cam survey depends on what questions you want answered. For the Strathbogie Forest Citizen Science Project, the question was straightforward. Which terrestrial mammals occur in the forest? How widely do they occur? And roughly how commonly do they occur? The methods we used aimed to detect as wide a range of species as possible, though the 3 species that we were most interested in were the long-nosed bandicoot, the brush-tailed phascogale, and the spot-tailed quoll. At the outset, we felt it likely that our camera trapping would detect bandicoots and phascogales, but the hope of finding a quoll was, admittedly, a long shot, as the last confirmed record of the spot-tailed quoll in the Strathbogie forest was in the mid-1980s. In any case, when it came to locating and setting up the trail cams, we selected sites with these species in mind, but in such a way that other species using the area would also be recorded.